Hi, my name is Shawn Shaler. That is my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek, who sometimes likes to do his own introductions, and other times he does not, and that's fine. That's Chris Ford,
Nope.
aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter's semi-fame, growing more semi-famous by the minute. You know what this episode, this worldwide pandemic episode, has maybe had a positive impact on the YouTubes in general. I think like it's not like they're just flocking to your channel specifically, but I think it's done some positives for the YouTube channel, hasn't it?
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell. My my who did Zuko marry video that's kind of taken off. I feel like it took off before like all the quarantining, and I think that could have been attracting some people there. But I mean, I guess free time doesn't hurt.
Oh
Although
yeah,
I've been making less videos lately, just because I don't have as much free time. I say that, but I had a whole 4 weeks of free time. But I just wasn't. I guess I'm just a little busy.
I mean, if you're
Yeah.
homeschooling a child, like your creative juices. I don't have children. I've never tried to homeschool them. But I imagine that's going to take some of the creative juices out in a different way than, like, let's be honest, we both work office jobs. You get home, you want to do something a little spicier. But if you're sitting all day at home teaching a kid,
Yeah,
maybe
it's funny because in my previous job, I get a 15-minute break in the morning and then a 30-minute break for lunch and then a 15-minute break in the afternoon. And so I really have nothing to do besides just surf the internet and eat in my lunch break. And so I felt very creative in that time. I would write a lot of scripts to videos at that time or do a lot of editing. Is now I don't have that. It's funny how that like combined hour and 10 minutes of just freedom felt like more freedom than a whole day off at work taking care of two kids.
that's it's the power of children. I said it
Yeah.
like I know, I don't know, but I think there's a big enough sample
Kids are
size
great
out
though.
there
Anyone
that
who's
will
thinking about
agree with
having
me.
kids,
Yeah, go.
anyone who's thinking about having kids, have kids. Kids are great. I love my kids. Even though they probably have annoyed me more in this time
Well, because you're
than
you're
any other.
stuck with it. Heather and I had an interesting talk about, like, there is probably a large group of people that are ready for this to be done, just because, like, if you have a lot of kids and you can love them all, and that's great, but if they are in school and in structured activities, and then you are as well, and you're separated when you get home, and you're all happy to be together even when they're pains in the butt, it's like now you just, when you're locked in with any number of kids for a long time, it is probably a really strange experience to be like, I just want you all to leave. All of you just go away for some amount of time. So don't base your future child rearing decisions on this 4 to whatever number of weeks. Don't base it on that. This is a bad sample right here. You don't have to be around your kids all the time. But hey, that's real deep thoughts to open up an episode, which is only funny because it's not a deep episode. It is the Ember Island Players. It is book 3. It's very shallow, very superficial episode. Book 3, Fire, episode 17. It is the last episode before the finale is technically a 3-part finale. Am I thinking about this right?
Four-part finale.
4-part finale. Thank you. And so this last one before we get to the good stuff, so to speak. But before we get to that, we were going to pass some time. Somebody asked a great Facebook question the other day that I thought was pretty funny. On Facebook, they framed it a little bit differently. We're talking about video games specifically, and somebody's like, hey, let's say that there's a worldwide shortage of, I don't know, toilet paper. And then you had to sell all the good stuff, all your favorite hobbies and things, everything behind me, everything behind you, to afford toilet paper for your family. What's one or two things that you would keep anyway? And like I said, we were talking about video games, but you and my interests span beyond video games. And so I thought it was a fun question. Chris, if you had to sell all of your worldly goods that were just hobby related to buy some toilet paper, what's a couple things you'd try to keep? Oh,
Well, that's a
you're gonna
pretty,
get it?
yeah, I mean, might as well walk around. It's a pretty interesting question. I have a pretty vast collection of things. I got things from oh man, I
Man,
love a lot of stuff
that's a
here.
couple years worth of toilet paper you're sitting on, right? That's good stuff.
I mean, honestly, all this stuff added up together probably equals maybe 10 grand or so. I'm not sure.
It's a
Um,
nice. I get where you're coming from in just terms of a nice round guess, though. I get it.
yeah, man, I really love these Justice League statues here. Because they're I just really love that cartoon, and this is like a really great set. This is like all eight or really seven of the main ones in the Aquaman's there. Uh, yeah, I'll probably keep that because that I'm gonna say three things I'll keep because that really. Oh, I'm gonna go with five because I can't. So those that's probably all the DC stuff I need. Is just those four statues, and now I'm counting them as one whole thing because it's one whole like collection. Hmm. Over here, I'll probably keep that statue of Aang because I really love it. Oh wait, yeah, I didn't. Anyway, that statue of Aang, really love it, and
The
it
Republic
can
City statue.
yeah,
Okay.
and it can embody both shows because that is from the show Legend of Korra, um, but it's Aang. Um, okay, so that's two things.
I feel like we're going on a
That's
trip when your parents are like, all right, you can bring three things, and you're like,
yeah.
but I want to bring four things.
Let's see. My that does it count things that I made? I mean, those things are probably still worth.
If you could sell it for money, I think you gotta count it.
Yeah.
If it's something that's
I would
that's totally worthless, but you don't make worthless things.
I would keep my static um glass mosaic art thing because that took me a long time to make, and I really love it. So I haven't framed it yet because Hobby Lobby's not open, or Michael's, wherever I'm going to get it framed at. So I would keep that. That's not hung up, and then I would keep this. I have this poster here that I created. It's called Black Superpower because it's a bunch of black superheroes. Just really love looking at this image every day. Really powerful image for me because a lot of my favorite superheroes are in there. And so I'll probably just keep four things. You might see I'm missing my. I don't think I
You
showed
know what,
before.
Chris? I'll let you count your two mosaics as a single gallery. It's like you're keeping your own art gallery. That's
Oh,
one
okay.
thing. That's one thing.
Well, that means I can keep my Avatar gallery as well. The Avatar one I did.
Yeah, that fits in as well. So you got a three
Yeah.
painting
Okay.
collection there that all goes together. You need
Three
that.
painting collection, Justice League statues, and that one statue of Aang.
Solid. I was worried you weren't going to get into that question, but I'm glad you did. So I think my my answer keeps changing, like depending on who I'm talking to. But I think you'll appreciate like I'm thinking sell. The Switch is honest to goodness probably in my top like two favorite consoles already, but it would obviously be fairly valuable at this point, especially since people are scalping them. So it's like, all right,
Are they
financially,
really?
people are scalping Switches and Switch games right now, and it's horrible, Chris Ford. It's horrible.
Mm.
It's embarrassing. But my point is that it would be financially irresponsible, in the words of Gary Goldman, for me to not sell my Switch. So, all right, so I decided I would get rid of the Switch. I would keep the 3DS. I think that is my second most played like thing because I do play a lot of portable games. I like to play in bed, road trips, things like that. I honestly play that. So 3DS, and if a game has to count as a separate thing, probably Dragon Quest 8. So if we're counting those as two separate things, 3DS, Dragon Quest 8, and then I'm not counting my PC because that is not a hobby good. That is a need. We have to have the PC, so it gets to stay here. But related to that, I'm going to keep the Elder Scrolls anthology. It's got all five of the Elder Scrolls games in it, and I really love four of those games. So that's big to me. And then I got to do like one. I'm going to say if I have to do like one non gaming related thing, I have. I have a very small collection of baseball and football and basketball cards, and there is one that has always been my favorite, and I've had it for a really long time. And I don't know who the player is. I think his name is like Fred Marion or something. It's from 1989. And what's important about this ball card is that John Taylor, the 49ers receiver, is in the background trying to tackle this guy he apparently just picked off a pass, and John Taylor's belt is hanging out, and the 49ers pants, his belt hanging out, little shading, looks a lot like genitalia. So they so the card is rare because they caught it after like a couple prints, and then they essentially painted it out. And so I have one of each side by side, and so it's really dumb. But when people come into my room, I know it's really stupid, but it is kind of valuable. Not extremely valuable, but kind of unique at least. And then when people, especially like card aficionados, visit and I give them, I'm like, all right, spot the difference. And then they see it and they're like, that looks horrible. But anyway, that's probably my favorite.
My most valuable comic book, which is probably my most valuable comic book, is so DC they still have this line of comics called DC Black Label, where it's like way more adult, way more rated R, and like their first one called Batman Damned, Bruce Wayne, like he's in the Batcave, he just sheds, because he's just tired, he just sheds like the cowl off, sheds the suit off, he's just like naked, and he walks somewhere, but you see the outline of his junk, and the thing is, I don't know why people made an uproar about this, because like it's adult for a reason. I mean, and also you don't really see anything, but they're like, all right, well, in our second printing, we're not going to do that. And so I had the first printing, it's like worth, like, I don't know, $80 or something.
Some
which
of
I
that
bought it
stuff
for
is weird.
$7 or
Well,
something.
now I feel better about my weird thing, at least. I realize I said 4 things, but yeah, those are the 4 things. If you make me get rid of one of those things, probably the Elder Scrolls anthology, if I could only keep 3.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
I would probably gladly sell all my comics. I'm not that connected to them, I guess.
I'm the same way. I would like to assume.
Comics, though.
You know, we're getting kind of mushy in this episode. I would assume that at some point I will have children, and if things change or whatever, it's like I like the stuff. Like probably 99% of it I could get rid of, and really I don't think I'd lose any sleep over it. A couple of those things I said, a couple other things. I'd have a hard time getting rid of the Switch unless I had to, though. We fight over the Switch like children in my house, like small children, my wife and I. We'd love it. Get a Switch. But not right now. Prices are too high. Wait till I come back down. That was my intro text for this week's episode. Just felt like asking that. No particular reason. Chris, any final thoughts? Are you ready to move on to the episode? Notes, updates, anything else you care to share?
Nope.
It's kind of an abrupt episode entrance, but it's also kind of an abrupt episode, so that's appropriate in its own right. This episode is something else. The Ember Island Players. So the gang has arrived in, I don't know, does this town have a name? I forget.
Ember Island?
Is that the name of the town too? So
that's the name of the island.
The whole island.
I don't think
it feels like they would have a municipality name. It's fine. And what it amounts to in this episode is it's like the real quick recap. It's the gimmick to give us the real quick recap of the story thus far. And that is the reason this episode exists, and it tries to do a little subplot in there that is iffy. But
I think some of it works.
Yeah, some of it works, some of it doesn't. Chris,
I think okay, yeah. So it's a very straightforward episode.
It is.
Honestly.
Go ahead and take us through it. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay, but first of all, I want to mention the cast. The cast of this episode is really great. Honestly, this might be the best voice cast assembled in the episode. So you have the normal voice actors for Avatar, which are all really great, and then on the people playing the characters, you have let's see, Gray Delisle Griffin. Oh, also wanted to note, Gray Delisle Griffin, the voice of Azula, also voiced Katara's mother Kaya in the previous episode. I forgot to mention that.
Nice.
Which is pretty interesting. Which is funny because she plays the actress who plays Katara.
No kidding. Solid.
And Tara Strong. I hope you know who Tara Strong is.
Not off the top of my head.
Oh gosh, that's disappointing, Shawn.
I am a
Tara
disappointing
Strong is
human.
like she's a pretty famous voice actress. She voices Harley for the most part. Like if Harley Quinn has ever voiced in most things, it's mostly Tara Strong.
Okay.
Except for in the most recent animated show, which is voiced by Kaylee
I
Cuoco,
was
but she
literally
does a really
just.
good job.
I was actually just going to ask that because I constantly get ads for that on, I want to say
It's a great
Hulu and
show, Sean.
YouTube.
You would like it. You would
I
like it.
mean, it looks fine. I don't know. Right now, I just keep hearing that one joke over and over about Batman not or having hair on his chest, having shaved his chest. I'm like, yeah, that's my kind of humor.
Trust you would you would like it. There's a it's so funny. It's one of the funniest shows I think I've watched in a while. But
I have your DC
so
universe. I can go.
yeah. Yeah, check it. They're pretty quick. They're like 22-minute episodes. But
I
there's
can handle
one
that.
where the Riddler and the Joker is like arguing about something, and the Joker's like, "Do you know what your shtick is with all these riddles? You're the most indirect asshole there is." It's just to me, that's just like funny.
It
And
sounds like my kind
then
of humor. I've probably
indirectly like
seen
the Legion.
if I'm turned off, it's just because I've seen a billion. I watch tons of YouTube and quite a bit of Hulu, and I think both of them running ads for it.
But no, it's great. I don't think you would anyway. So Tara Strong is in this. She voices Azula. Um I can't think of anything else. Oh, I think Tara Strong voices Jimmy Neutron. No, not Jimmy Neutron, Timmy Turner. I think she
I can
voices
see
Timmy
that.
Turner.
You know, I can hear the voice. I believe that 99%. I can hear that voice comparison.
I mean Tara Strong, she's kinda like a legend in voice acting. Now I'm probably looking up
Legendary like
her
Tress McNeil, whose name I will now remember.
Tress McNeil, yeah, she's also yeah, I mean she's up there with Tress McNeil, definitely. So Tara Strong has voice, not that it's all that important, but yeah, she did voice Jimmy, not Jimmy. Oh, I keep confusing those two. Timmy Turner and Fairly Odd Parents, Raven, and Teen Titans, and
Oh,
like so
nice.
many other things. But mostly, I think she's probably most famous for voicing Harley Quinn and like the Arkham games. She has voiced Batgirl every now and then. But okay, but other people in there. Scott McNivel. Um, he's not that big, but he voices Robin in Teen Titans, and he's the voice of Sokka. Derek Bosco, which I'm pretty sure is related to Dante Bosco, is the voice actor for Zuko for the actors in the Ember Island Players, and then John DiMaggio, which you know who John
I had to think.
DiMaggio is.
Is this who I told Bender? And
Yes, Bender, and he voices the Joker in the Red Hood.
there we go.
And
Okay.
Batman Under the Red Hood, which for some reason I let my daughter watch the other night.
Chris, this is a terrible one to let your daughter watch the other night or nights for
I
several years.
I at least told her to close her eyes in certain parts.
This. Okay, that's fair. I mean, that's a pretty graphic death scene to. Wow, I don't know, man.
And I told her to close her eyes in those parts.
Whatever, I don't know.
I
I
think,
can't. I
I
can't
think I just
remember
think
the
about
first.
myself like it's PG-13. It's yeah,
And
she's
she's almost
7.
half that age. Oh, okay, she's half that age. And so if you're with an adult, that doubles the age of stuff you can watch. That's
It's
the rule.
exactly that's how the math works out.
I'm trying to think of like my first, like sort of graphic thing like that, and I'm having a hard time. I'll say like maybe Jaws. Like I have really early memories of watching Jaws, and then you're like, all right, there's still some gruesome stuff happening in there. I know it looks bad because it's Jaws, but I don't know.
But
What was
anyway,
your favorite?
John DiMaggio.
No,
John DiMaggio
hey, go ahead.
voices Toph of the Ember Island Players.
Yes, she does. He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, great voice.
Voices, quote unquote.
Great.
Screams.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Anyway, so they're Sokka and Sookie goes into town. They find there's an Ember Island play, and it's informed by like all these random people they name, and also one surprisingly knowledgeable cabbage merchant of cabbage,
Giving away all the
which
secrets.
which even more so why he's a terrible person and character and
Let the man
oh
tell his
his
story, Chris.
Um, so they go to display just for fun because it's goofy shenanigans. And it's I do like how everyone team members getting along. Like Katara brings out drinks for Zuko and Aang because they're firebending. Anyway, they go to display, inspired by their life, and pretty much everyone in Team Avatar hates how they're depicted in it. Aang is played by a girl. Um, Wait, who voiced Aang in the thing? I'm curious on that.
The Aang girl is like stupid, chipper, and
Oh, I
flighty.
remember now. Okay.
And okay, go ahead.
I forget where she's from, but she's from SNL. I forget. I can't really describe you to her. Anyway, she was like in the Will Ferrell era. Um, anyway, Katara's like way too overly bashly about
Just crying all the
hope
time.
and crying and stuff all the time. Zuko is even more emo and angry.
Although his isn't
Sokka's
horribly far off, let's be honest. His is pretty close.
no, it's not. It's not. Um,
Uh, Sokka's is like even worse
he's
jokes.
dumber.
Dumber, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not the strategic mastermind.
Yeah.
And then Toph
So
is a large man who
yeah, and she loves it.
instead of I mean she can't see that it's ugly, but who what is it, instead of the seismic sense, they say it's like she has like a supersonic
Yeah,
something or other.
like she can scream and feel the vibrations of people.
Something like that. Oh, it's great. It's like it's so
Yeah.
close. There's like the seeds of truth in there.
Yeah, which is interesting enough to me. So this is like Fire Nation propaganda, but they don't necessarily paint Avatar in like a bad light.
No, it
Like
seems
that's
pretty
the protagonist.
reasonable, you know.
Yeah, right. Like that's the protagonist of the play, but it ends with the Fire Nation winning. I mean, if I was a playwriter, I would have changed it up some. Right, I would have at least been like, "Hey, he's trying to, I don't know,
You would have
he's against
propaganded it up a little
he's
bit,
against
though.
freedom, right?
Yeah, like he hates progress, or
Yeah,
something
something
like
like that.
you. I wasn't alive during World War II era, but I hear that propaganda was much easier back then without the internet to be informative and prove people wrong. But yeah, I'd have given it
Is
some
it?
like World War
Or did the
II
internet
flair or
make?
something.
I feel like the internet made propaganda easier.
It's weird because it made bad propaganda easier to produce, but then like easier to dispel. But still, I don't know.
I
It's like
think
a weird. It extremified it on both
to
ends.
me, it's like a bell curve, right?
Now we're
It's like
talking. Yeah.
you have these ends here where it just really worked well. Like everyone else is like, well, I can just look up
See if
information.
this is legitimate. Oh no, good guy. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Um,
You just do a quick Google. Hitler
yeah.
killed how many people? Okay. Yeah, I'm out. Like could be that easy.
Yeah, and so they all hate how they're depicted in it. There's a sub stories going on of there's Aang and Katara's relationships depicted as a very sister brother relationship, and Aang absolutely hates that. There's one moment where Zuko and Katara in the Ember Island Players they like kiss or they mention like, oh, Aang's just a brother to me, but he won't find out about this, and that makes Aang mad. And Aang like confronts Katara. I won't say confront because he goes out and he's done with the play at that point.
During the intermission or what have you.
Yeah, during the second intermission, I think, and he's really dumb right here, which.
We
Which
just
I hate
had a
how
bad
dumb he
guitar
is.
episode. We need a bad Aang episode. That's fine.
Yeah. Which again, no one talks about how dumb Korra. I mean, no one forgives Korra for being dumb at times. But to me, everyone can be dumb time from time. And Aang is like 12 or 13 at this point. He can be dumb. And But to me, this is like more dumb. It's like, hey, did you really mean that in there? Like, Katara's like, what are you talking about? And there, you said this is why I think it's dumb. It's like you said that I'm just like a brother to you. It's like, hey, this is just a play. Well, we kissed at the invasion, and I thought you would be my girl. I forget exactly what it says, but it's mostly to that effect.
It's
Like, oh,
it's
he says, I thought we would be
cringy
together.
and childish, and you're just like, Aang, come on. Like, if there's ever
Yeah,
this is the biggest piece of Zutara like foundation that you could have
it
is
is. It
Aang
honestly
acting
is.
like
Like,
this right
I do see a
here.
lot of Zutara fans like, Aang was really pushy in this moment.
I mean, he was
Which
12, so you forgive it, but he's being a little douchebag right
yeah.
now.
And then, Katara gives him a pretty good answer. It's like, I don't know, Aang. Like, I just need time. I'm kind of confused. I just need time. We're fighting a war here. And then he kisses her, and then, she's like, I just told you I need time. And like, that's, yeah. Come on, can't just be kissing girls
Just don't
unwarranted. Not this.
be assaulting people right now, Aang. God.
Yeah.
He, yeah, so it's pretty cringy. And they do. And I mean, it's supposed to feel that way, right?
Yeah. Um, and then on the other side of it, which I think all that, I don't really like any of that. That might be more for preference thing. I mean, also, I don't think it really helps the plot all that much either. So, yeah, I don't like that. Don't think that's good. Onto Zuko's side of it, when Zuko sees this, he sees like his whole past coming back to confront him. And so I think that's interesting stuff, right? Because Zuko in the island says like, Iroh, you're stupid and you're ugly and whatever, and he has this really good talk with Toph, and Toph is like, "Don't worry, your uncle's proud of you. Like he talked to me, and all he wanted was you to find your way, and you're with us." And I love that moment between Toph and Zuko. It's a really good, heartfelt moment. I think it helps Zuko feel a lot better about everything. So really like that moment.
I think it helps that it comes if there's like an impartial party, it's probably Toph if there is
Yeah,
such a
good
thing
point.
like towards Zuko, and so it's almost like his unbiased thing. Like, this random third party person talked with my uncle, and uh, I don't think it would have felt as good coming from anybody else. Like Aang, you're like, well, of course Aang's gonna tell him nice things, and Sokka would say something stupid, and I don't know, maybe it means something coming from Katara now. But I think the fact that it comes from Toph is oddly meaningful as an unbiased
Yeah,
party.
yeah. Other little side note: Sokka is loving the play, even though he doesn't like how he's being depicted a lot. But I think he's still fairly fine with it. But he feels like he can make some improvements, and he gets Suki to sneak him in. I love how Suki's like, "I'm a trained warrior, trained in the art of stealth for years." I think if for some reason, informs the character even more of Suki that she is like a BA, like she really is like an assassin compared to all the rest of them. She's probably the most assassin-like of them all.
And she's gonna use these powers for punnery.
Yeah. Um, which I love the Suki and Saga relationship here because to me they seem throughout the whole show. I think they're the best relationship because they're the most even. They're the most ones that have give and take. There's no, they had to work through a couple struggles, but it's to me it's the most like realistic, healthy
They
relationship
seem to have
in the
nice
show.
balance, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you have Suki who can beat him up completely, but still respects her, and she still respects Sokka. Have a very mutual bond and love for each other. So I really like seeing them together, seeing a really good couple
It's
in
got
the
staying
show
power.
Avatar.
We're 3 seasons in now, and they're still together. Other than
Yeah,
one little water tribe hiccup from Sokka, started seeing other women who came the moon.
yeah.
Don't want to say it's karma, but no, staying power
Are
though,
there
sure.
any other moments that this thing? I mean, there's a lot of small funny moments throughout the whole play.
There
There's a
are,
whole like
and
there's a whole like jet die thing, and and Zuko, I guess Zuko wasn't there, which is really interesting to see how people who weren't involved in certain situations look at it. Because Zuko's like, did Jet just die? And it's funny because like, how do they know? How do they know that Zuko knows Jet? Like, um,
There are, and they do. I don't want to short them because they appeal a lot to me. Like it's my kind of comedy, and then even the visual presentation of it, they do. They like kind of have some fun with the stage play aspects of
yeah,
how they present it. So, I don't want to sit here and go through every detail, despite the fact that it does all appeal to me quite a lot aesthetically. But it's chipper, it's good natured. I think one of the funniest parts, just to wrap it up all in a nutshell, is when Sokka gets backstage to that actor and feeds him a pun and starts feeding some advice, and that kind of, I don't know, that's probably the funniest moment to me is how that actor reacts to him and like asks him how he knows this stuff or something like that. And so that little backstage scene's really funny, but it's pretty lighthearted, and that's probably all we need to say is about the play itself, other than what we've already said.
yeah. You mentioned the like the stage stuff, stage props. Like,
Mm?
I would love to see a play like this in
Yeah,
person, like
absolutely.
Cirque du Soleil type of deal. Um, that'd be really cool. I would like I imagine like a Lion King but with Avatar. That would be really fun to watch. I would see that before seeing Hamilton. Maybe not.
Oh,
No,
that's
I
big.
would see it before. I would see it before seeing Hamilton, definitely.
You know what it made me think of is that you might recall that Zootopia is one of my favorite I guess animated movies. Um, and I love the little stage play that Hops puts on at the beginning with like she's got the blood
Yeah.
streamers and stuff going out. And it's
Yeah.
like that same kind of goofy, corny but still funny stage accurate feeling. And I don't know, I really like the. I'm giving it away here, but the audio visuals there are kind of fun.
Random note, I binge watched this anime on Netflix called Beastars, and it's like Zootopia, but if it was more real, I guess. It's not funny at all. I mean, it's an anime. Like, this person gets killed by a carnivore, and like this wolf he's has struggled dealing with his temptation to like eat this bunny. Wait, is she a bunny? Yeah, she's a bunny. But he turns out to be like really attracted to her, and he thinks he might be in love, but he's not sure if he's infatuated with her because he wants to eat her or because he's in love with her. Um, which I mean, he's a good person. Like, he's like a quiet, like he just can't help that in him that he has this
He's
urge to want to eat.
he's hungry, and that's food. I get it.
Yeah. But he's actually a really good person. I think he's like this tall. Um, yeah, he's one of those people that you would describe as like he's much taller than his stature, I guess would presume him to be. And like he tries to do things to not feel menacing. Like one day he looks in the mirror, he's like, "Holy crap! I grew another 4 inches. I really need to stop growing," because he doesn't want to feel even more intimidating to like really small creatures. Um,
What does he
but
do? What does he do?
it's
Does
an
he?
interesting anime. I binged it in like 2 days. It's like there's like 12 episodes.
What was it called?
East Stars, like
Beast
Beast or
Star.
Beast Stars, something like that.
Beast Stars. Beast Stars
Yeah.
sounds like it makes sense. I haven't heard of it. I'll have to check it out. And also, I'll probably have to rewatch Zootopia because that movie is criminally forgotten. Criminally forgotten. It's not even that old, and it's great. I don't know how
Yeah.
people don't love it more, but whatever. Different story, different day.
But okay, so everything ends. The play goes to the future where they have to fight them, which I think is a pretty cool foreshadowing to what's going to happen.
Because
And ends
at
up
this
with
point, you kind of forget that it's not sort of strictly a comedy, and then the intermission, in a number of ways, kind of draws a line, and again gets a little dark, I suppose, with the foreshadowing here. But then you remember, oh yeah, this
yeah,
isn't a comedy. Like they think that the Fire Lord's gonna kill the Avatar. It's kind of a big deal.
yeah, right. And then you see that whole like it's great stage production, right? All those flames come up, it's like Fire Lords, like we did it, and all the Fire Nation crowd claps, and that gives like an ominous feeling to Team Avatar. And then they leave, and then they're like, "Nah, that play was crap. Yeah, it was crap." And Sokka was like, "Well, at least the effects were good." And a lot of people think that was Mike and Brian um, dig at the live action show, but I'm pretty sure they wrote this before. Yeah, they had to, because book two, book two DVD has a special feature with M Night on it, uh, and I mean, they would have been already probably writing the episode. And also, Avatar ended in like 2008. The Last Airbender came out 2010. So even though early on, I don't think Mike and Brian hated the concept of the movie. They seemed kind of excited, and then after a while in development, they realized that they weren't being as involved. But I think even at that point, they're like, yeah, whatever, we'll support it. Like, we'll support it in the sense of like we won't talk down it, but we're trying to be kind of removed from it. Um, and so I don't think they would have been trying to insert digs at that movie with an episode in season three.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that's fun to interpret, but I don't know. I try not to overrun it. It could just be Sokka being goofy, like not realizing the whole
I
weight
think just
of
like
what they just saw. Like, yeah, either way.
which the effects were good.
They were. I was impressed, and I wasn't even there in real life. I was a third
Yeah.
party. It's one of the better parts of this episode, in my opinion, is the sort of secondhand stage effects. I loved it. It's also worth noting that Toph thought her character was represented beautifully. Beautifully, she's a big fan. Oh, that is funny. This I can't get the supersonic out of my head. It's like it's so close, like the seed of truth in there, and just but not quite, but not quite. But the ending is very sobering because so that they walk out and they're all kind of down on the play and on the message that it sent, and then it's very sobering because it's just a reminder of like, hey, you, harkening back to the previous episode of Aang, do you know what you're gonna do when you see Ozai yet? Or because if not, he's gonna kill you. And this is a healthy reminder of that right here is that everyone wants that to happen in the Fire Nation.
Yeah.
I just everybody else is thinking about it, Aang.
Yeah. On to scores, unless you have anything else.
No, I'm trying to remember how else it wraps up, or if they just leave in that
They just leave. That's how the episode ends.
Sokka's last note, and that's just kind of it. Yeah, no, I guess that's all I got. I'm just trying to think if anything else happens, if it just kind of goes out on a sigh. I guess it does. I don't recall. Ratings.
All right, 7.5 for audio visual. This was a little bit lower, but then I realized the great voice cast that this episode came up with, and they all do a fairly good job. Story, it gets a 6 out of 10. This is the most inconsequential episode there probably could be. I do love the stuff with Zuko and Toph, and then the other stuff is way more cringy. And I don't think really supports the story all that
Doesn't
much.
do much now or later. Doesn't come back either.
Yeah. I guess in a way it kind of comes back in a commentary for the end of the series at the very finale of it, where Katara does kiss Aang. I think Brian says like, and you see Katara is the one now initiating this kiss because she is like accepting of her feelings and everything. She brings the relationship forward without Aang progressing it. But that's still not necessary. It's still I would have gotten that sense without this episode.
Yeah, we didn't need that tug.
Yeah. Memorable gets a 9.5 for memorable. This is a very memorable episode, it gets a 9.5 mostly because I think this is the best recap episode of any show I've ever seen. Like most recap episodes are they're lazy, right? and they're lazy for a reason because like, oh, we only have so much production money. Let's do a recap episode, right? And most shows, you're just like, oh, this is a recap episode. I don't have to watch this. I'll just skip it. This is like,
I blame
no,
Friends. I'm sure it was done before Friends, but I blame Friends for like starting that trend of like, hey, in this episode we're just gonna use clips from a whole lot of other episodes, and we're just gonna pin them together, and it's gonna be fine. And then other TV shows, there's probably like a more egregious example before that I'm just not aware of. But that's the first one that I can think of as like, this episode is crap. Why are people watching this?
I think Community did a pretty good one. I think their recap episode was they shot it as if it was a recap episode, but it was all new footage.
Community has a couple of episodes even that, while they're not always even meant to be recap episodes, but even later seasons where they do things that like harken back to previous episodes and previous seasons, but from different perspectives and stuff like that. And you're like,
Yeah.
that's a really great way to bring that back. And like, oh yeah, they kicked all those kids out of the library for multiple years.
Yeah.
Oh man, first 3 seasons of Community might be my favorite television. And I know I'm on the wrong podcast to say that, but maybe the second favorite television. Oh, sorry. Waiting on a total here. 7.1.
Oh, 7.1 out of 10.
Yeah, well, your memorable really helped that out. That could have been bad.
Yeah.
Well, it could have been... Well, it's honest. That's what's important. Audio visuals I really liked, and mostly things that... I didn't even think about the voice acting. I just generally liked the way that they set it up, and it was visually entertaining to watch. Story 8, in hindsight, probably way too high. But I liked the... again, I kind of liked the way... Probably too much credit to the way that they told the story and the way that they gave the recap. Quite frankly, in hindsight, I should have thought about that differently. But, it's fine. And then memorable, it's really memorable episode. Everybody knows this episode, not everybody likes it. I actually do like it quite a bit. It's not one of those that I would necessarily like recommend. It's not a great picture of Avatar overall. But it fits the bill for exactly what we need right here in this moment at this point in the series. It's fine. 8.5. I think the 7.8 score, we were accurately divisive. That probably represents the community at large. Good episode for humor, not a great episode for deep feelings or anything like that. That's about all there is to it. The Ember Island Players. There's I keep wanting to call him Joe DiMaggio, but it's John.
John, yeah.
Joe's the baseball player, John's the actor. Got it. I really wish that they had the Boulder, like a Boulder reference in there somewhere, but it's fine. Just like 2 days ago, my younger brother was babysitting our nephew, and he sent pictures because the nephew wanted to play with wrestlers, and he was playing with Cactus Jack. Like, we had a Cactus Jack and a Dude Love, and they were fighting each other, and I was laughing because, like, oh, that's the same person. It's both the Boulder, you dummy. But I didn't tell him that because he's like 6.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to call a 6-year-old child a dummy. That's terrible. But
I want to do that.
No. Whatever. It's not my kid. I just saw him playing with those. I was like, oh, that's the Boulder. Anyway, this is the Ember Island Players. We are Avatar The Last Podcasters. I don't know if I have anything else to say other than that whatever we do for the finale will probably be different. I don't know what it is yet. We haven't really talked about it yet. We have a little bit of time to discuss. But whatever we do for the finale will be different. We'll make it big. We'll make it exciting somehow. We're thinking about it. We'll get back to you on that. Chris, final thoughts?
None.
None.
Thank you all for listening. Give us any video ideas because we might be doing some. I know some people have shared some video ideas that I'm going to share with you, Shawn, and I'm sure we'll get to it.
No, I like this wrap-up idea. Oh, I thought you were going to share them with me right now. You mean later. Okay, great.
Oh, right
later.
now?
You know, no, not right now.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah,
Save
we have... we could especially use some, like... I guess, like, one-off topic ideas would be welcome. Those are always fun and give us some flexibility to work with. So, yeah, happy to shoot the ideas. Thoughts on the finale, what should we do there, all that stuff. It might be decided by the time this is actually up. In the meantime, thank you very much for listening. obviously getting close to something pretty monumental in podcast relative terms, at least. And it's very exciting. Looking forward to it a lot. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you later.